Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be remixing Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana off of the album In Utero. As many of you I'm sure are aware, not the biggest fan of Nirvana, made a video about that, and not a lot of people were happy about that. For many, In Utero is sacrosanct, and I don't understand that at all. But we're going to talk about that for a little bit before getting into the remix. I just wanted to say quickly, guys, I love making these remix videos, and I know you guys love them. It's been great. They have been some of my most watched videos in the last few months, but also I don't get paid for these at all. Because I use so much of the music for so long, they always get copyright claimed, and I could fight it and try and say fair use, but honestly, it's not even worth it. Something like this could go to a court, and I don't want to have to deal with court or legal fees at all. Zero. So that means if I'm going to keep doing these, I really need your guys' support. Please, it would mean the world to me. You can support me by becoming a member. You can go to Subscribestar, which is in the link in the description, or you can just send a tip through PayPal, becomethenight@gmail.com. Any amount helps, seriously. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you. I've already tried recording this video twice. The Metallica one and the Pantera one both got claimed, and they're also two of my highest performing videos in the last 2 months. So I would love if you guys supported me. Oh, fuck me sideways. Just a little more compressed, a little bit more abrasive, a little bit... God damn it. God fuck. I had an entire 30-minute video edited, and I'm doing this for the 3rd time now. At a mix that I was happy enough with, I thought it was a vast improvement, and then I shared it with my friend Finn, who was like, yeah, I don't know, it's a little harsh. I'm like, son of a bitch. He's right. Damn it, he is right. So on my Friday stream, Song Suggestion Friday, before we got into the songs that you guys were suggesting, I actually did a quick remix of it and just fixed a little bit of the harshness that was happening in certain places. Whatever this is, yeah, 3.2. Definitely want the 749. But there's other stuff going on here that we probably don't want. So let me see here. But we'll get into that. In Utero is the 3rd album from Nirvana and the final album, following Nevermind, their biggest commercial success. Kurt Cobain was not a fan of how commercial the mix on Nevermind was in general. When they would talk about Nevermind, they would always listen to it on the initial mixes that they had, which were more raw, that they had on a tape, not the ones that got released to everybody. The album actually remixed it after the fact. So for their next album, Kurt Cobain hired Steve Albini, who's known for doing noise rock experimental stuff and really doing boiled down, it sounds like you're in the room kind of productions.
In Utero, they did intentionally want to make a more primitive record. And by primitive, I don't mean like a rudimentary record. I just mean a record where the band sound was unvarnished. The bulk of the record, the vocals that Kurt is singing are his first take of singing the song. He sat with this broken acoustic guitar in his lap and had me play the songs back to him, and he would sort of strum along on this acoustic guitar and sing the songs. And that was exactly the way he wanted to present it.
One of the things you'll notice about the drum sound, there's tons of room sound. Apparently, they went around first thing, or one of the first things, and started checking out where to place what mics in what room in order to achieve the kind of sound that they liked. I personally don't normally like that roomy of a sound, and if I do, I normally like it crushed a little more. So having learned much more about the entire process since making that initial Nirvana video, I wouldn't say that the mix is bad. I would say the production process is something I strongly disagree with. To me, it sounds pretty flat and unexciting. I would just describe it as kind of shitty and dorky, you know, I'm not a fan. The credit I would give it, it sounds very raw and real. It feels like real people playing their instruments. That's undeniable. And that's exactly what Kurt wanted for whatever reason. And apparently a bunch of people like that sound too. So that's, you know, is what it is. So I found the stems of this from Guitar Hero 2 and I loaded them up and I'm like, okay, I have what I have. How can I make this sound most pleasing to me without going too far overboard like I did the first time? Finn McKenty described my first mix as more of a metal mix, and I don't think that was a compliment. Hopefully my second mix hits the target. We'll see. All right, let's get into it. If I were a bitty bitty rich, Idle, diddle, diddle, diddle man. Arr, wouldn't have to work hard. Yabba dibby, dibby dibby dum. Whole day long I'd bitty bitty bum.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Okay, this is now my 4th time recording this segment. I'm about to lose my mind. I got done recording it for the 3rd time, went to edit, and there was no sound coming from my DAW. I am so ready to be done. I hope this video does incredibly effing well. Please like and subscribe, I guess. Make it worth my while. All right, so I started splitting this up into verse and chorus. You have 2 very distinct moods and attitudes. In the chorus, it's very mean, it's heavy, it's big, it's hard-hitting. In the verses, it's relaxed, withdrawn, chill, smaller. Okay, so here's what the original mix of the chorus sounds like. Here's what my mix sounds like. Bigger to me, wider without even using any stereo imaging, thicker, meatier, more impactful drums. Definitely sounds substantially better to me. Now keep in mind, I am using the audio driver on my computer, not in my interface, which is a better driver. That's just so I can actually capture the audio on my screen capture software, which is why I didn't have the freaking audio on it in the first place. So this may not be wholly accurate. That and when I upload these things to YouTube, it messes with them a little bit. Let's quickly take a look at the verse mix. It's not drastically different, just little nuances, but here's the original. Great mix, honestly. And here's mine. More low end. Just a smidge more impact out of that kick drum, just a smidge. It's less of a oof, 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 of that whole room coming up anytime it gets hit, and more of just a thump, a little bit of a thump on the chest. I prefer it. And honestly, this original mix is great. I mean, I really wouldn't change it in the context of the whole song. It's great. Like nitpicking from engineering perspectives, I couldn't nitpick anything, but keeping in mind, I did a drastic change to the chorus. So if I kept this original mix in the verse, it would kind of be jarring going from something mixed like this to something mixed like that in the same track. On top of that, I'm just a tinkerer. I just like tinkering with things. It's just my nature. I'm sorry. I like having fun with things and well, what if this? Well, what if that? You know, I like it. I did some subtle stuff to the drums, nothing crazy. Here's the original. Here's my mix. Much more definable, noticeable kick drum. I just gave some low frequency enhancement, a decent amount, not crazy, but a decent amount. Ran it through some warm tube saturation, gave it some bus compression, but really, in all honesty, it's mostly just compressing the kick, if you just take a look here. It's not triggering on any of the snare hits or anything else, so yeah, it's just kind of curving the kick a little bit more. This massive dip is to keep that drone in the background that leaked through the stem somehow. It's to keep that as low as possible while I'm compressing everything. That's dipped out of there, but about the same point, at about 117, I did a little bit of a cut in order to shape up the kick drum a little bit more, make it a little bit more defined and tight. The only thing I did at all with the guitar was just bring up the fader and gave it a smidge of a dip to get out of the way of the vocals. Only thing I did with the vocals was a little bit of saturation and a little bit more compression to help it get above how everything's getting a little louder. And the most substantial change was the bass. If we listen to this original bass tone, that's a good bass tone. It's a great character of a bass. My issue, where's the bottom? Where is the bottom on this guy? So this is the original again. And here's mine. That's some bottom. It is a little exaggerated from natural, but not too much. That mostly has to do with the fact that I'm bringing back information that's not completely there. As a remixing compromise, I still think it sounds great. I mean, it's just listen to drums and bass soloed up. They both have nice homes. Yeah. Then bring the guitar in there. Feels pretty balanced to me. And then with vocals. Works, but all right, back to the chorus now. This is where the intense work happened. All right, let's start with the drums. Here's the original drum sound. And here's what I made the drums sound like. But there's a character track too. So why are these duplicated? Well, let me take you through mixing it and I'll tell you why. So let's mute that second track and just focus on the main drum mix I was working with. So first thing I did was definitely bring up some more of the transients and definitely bring up more of the low end. Kissed that high end a little bit, not too much. Here's what that sounds like by itself. With it on. Get a little more impact out of the snare, substantially more presence in the toms and the kick. It's really starting to come through now, you know? Nothing crazy yet. Ran it through some gentle saturation here. Gave it a bus compressor. It's sitting regularly around 3 dB reduction on the hits. It's a happy place for this genre. And because the body of these drum shells was getting exaggerated and coming through harder, I felt like I was losing a bit of the top of the snare, the snare part of the snare drum. So I came over to about 2K and brought that back just a hair. It also gave a little bit more of the top end impact of those shells. And then I used a clipper because if you're gonna go hard, go for a clipper. So this is before the clipper. After clipper. I kind of like it. I think it works with the messy, grimy vibe of the whole record and song, in my opinion. I did also add my own drum room to this to bring that back just a little bit, but it's not on too hard. All right, so listening to these drums with the guitars and bass. They didn't bite enough yet. It was better, but I want to feel the energy coming off of those darn things. So I started playing around with a few different types of saturation that I wasn't using before, and I found something really cool with this tape smash, but it was too colored, it was too scooped, it was too hyped. Just it wasn't working on its own. So I was like, okay, I want something like this. I just don't want it this much. So that's why I made the duplicate track. It's a character track. Just kill this fader and then play it and bring it up until it's something that sounds appealing to you. So this is without anything. Then just bring it up. Oh, that's too much. That's pretty good there. Again, that just extra bit. So this is without the character track. With the character track. Just that little extra bit, man. All right, next let's check out the bass guitar. So I did, again, a character track on this, but actually it was to bring, well, we'll get to it. Here's the original. Very mid-rangey, no bottom, which is not great for massive sections. How I mixed it. More low mids. Definitely warmer, A little bit of accentuated growl, but nothing crazy. I still wasn't getting the low end I wanted off of this, which is why I made the second track, but we're gonna get to that in a second. So first things first, I added the Corniff Pawn Shop compressor. If you listen to this quick. Turning it on. Notice it's not compressing, but something came back. What the hell came back? If we flip the faceplate, say that 10 times fast, I did a little bit of coloring EQ at 1.6K and 63 Hertz. This 63 Hertz, I'm sure you're thinking, Mike, that's where the kick drum goes. Not today. The kick drum has its home at 85 Hertz. So if there's no bass and there's no kick drum down there, what the hell is in our sub? Nothing. There's nothing in the subs. Why did they mix it that way? How I treated the bass in the verse and how I'm treating it here, I think is interesting in the sense of they wanted to show Nirvana unvarnished, and they thought that meant doing as little outside of tracking as possible, as that is going into mixing without trying to over exaggerate too much. And I get that, but also I highly doubt their bass sounded like this thin live, this lacking in sub live. I'm almost positive they have low end on their bass live. So is it more accurate to represent that in your recording, or is it more accurate to just do as little as possible to capture the sound? I don't know. I don't know exactly what the thought was. When I hear bass, I usually like the bass part of bass, not the mid part of bass. And I wanted to bring that back. No one is at 63 Hertz at all. So if the bass is America and 63 Hertz is oil, we're taking it, we're going in. Just ran it through the tape saturation setting on the Corniff AIP. Subtle but important difference. Gave it some soothe to get out of the way of the kick drum, and just did a little carving out at 211 because I didn't like where I was sitting in the mix. It was just getting in the way of things, annoying, muddying things up. Goodbye. See you later. And again, that's not how much low end I want. So I messed with EQs, I messed with saturation. Nothing was making me happy. So I said, all right, time to pull out all the stops. Let's reamp this thing. Let's send this already amplified bass signal through parallax. So this is the original bass track. And this is what I did to this poor thing. Not the most pleasant, I would say, but hold on, there's a method to my madness, hold on. So first thing I did was add a low pass at 2.5K. Most of you wouldn't miss that at all in a mix if I didn't tell you it was there. I guarantee it. Then I ran it through parallax. That is cancer. But you know what's there? My freaking sub information. My sub information I wanted so bad is there now. I did some high mid ducking because I wanted to get this out of the way so that the guitars could have most of that area. The guitars are gonna be doing some pretty funky stuff here. It's very dark now, very dark. Then just added a little EQ to just slightly shuffle it around. And this is the original mix of the bass track that I had. And this is with the character track. I can't say I love that bass tone at all. But let's listen to it with drums. It works. It works. It sounds good to me. It matters less if it sounds appealing to you right up front. That does help. It definitely helps. It matters more how it acts in the mix more than anything else. I technically only did 2 things to these guitars, but they were very drastic things. Here's the original guitar. And here is how I murdered your boy. Oh. Oh, it's terrible. It's awful. I've always considered this song kind of gross, kind of gnarly, not okay, demented. So that's what I was aiming for with the bass and guitar tones, was going that direction, truly bringing it into hard rock and not this just, well, this kind of pansy ass sound by comparison. Like here. That feels like hard rock to me. That just I fucking hate that bass frequency area. It's just, the bass is just mid-rangey and dorky and has no bottom to it. It's such a massively missed opportunity. I've always hated that. But anyway, on the guitar, I did some pretty extreme yet very little applied to it moves. I did the amplified instrument processor. If we take a listen here, this is before. After. It's a horrible sound, I agree. That octaver that's on the guitar, I specifically ducked out a ton of 73. While it's cool and it gives you this thickness that you don't normally get out of guitars, all the stuff that's in the sub area is just noise, just eating up headroom, is horrible, muddy garbage. Throw it out. Get rid of it. Gave it a boost at around 770. A hair of a boost at 3.2K, which some might say is a poor decision, but I don't care. And then did the insufferable mid-range filter, which this thing is a miracle. If we do the before and after on that, this is before. This is after. Takes that whistle right out of there, which is in the original track as well, for the record. Then I just did some high frequency compensation just to bring a little bit more of that edge back. So still sounds crappy, but kind of cool. And then I've never used this before, the 456 demo saturation old tape. Yeah, so let's listen to what this does. This is before and after. That is obnoxious. Electrified sludge. It is cancerous. The EQ is just to get it out of the way of the vocal. So, I mean, I hate this guitar tone. I hate this bass tone, but listen to how they work together. They kind of work together enough. And with the drums. Kind of works. All together now. Works to me. If you're gonna go shitty, go full shitty, right? So on these vocals, I didn't do a ton, but I did add a significant amount of compression and saturation, which actually messed with some of the dynamics that I liked from the original track. I did that so it would get in the mix enough so that it's not being overrun constantly by the other instruments. So this is before. Hey, wait, I gotta complain forever and ever. And this is after. Hey, wait, I gotta complain forever. More mid-rangey, definitely more present in the mix. But what I lost, if we listen to the original mix here, those hey waits were substantially louder than the other portions of the chorus. And I wanted to bring that back and also give it, again, a little bit of character. So I made this hyper distorted, filtered vocal part here. And that only happens at the hey wait parts. So if we listen here. Hey wait, I gotta complain forever and dare to your prices advice. Hey wait, it gives us, again, a little bit of that dynamic that we were missing, but also gives a bit of bite, if that makes any sense. Actually, it gives a substantial amount of bite. Everything is biting at that section. The drums, the guitars, the bass. I wanted the vocals to also bite, and maybe, I don't know, some people might think that's too much. I don't know. I think it's really cool. Hey, wait, original mix. I feel like it has quite a lot more attitude, but maybe that's just me. Either way, so what did you guys think? Did you like my mix more? Did you like my mix less? Did I stick with what they were trying to go for? Did I get too far away from the original vision? I'm very curious. I would love to know what you guys have to say. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe, that'd be awesome. But more specifically, if you like this video, supporting me would be amazing. Becoming a member of the channel means a lot to me. Supporting me in Subscribestar in the link below would be massive. Or sending me a tip to PayPal, becomethenight@gmail.com. Thank you guys very much. I love you. Bye.